You've got ideas, you've got ambition, you've got no time, or so you think. I'm Marissa Lonick, and I help busy moms with big dreams and no time. Join me each week as I dive into time management strategies, goal setting and achieving framework, and inspiring guests who are juggling mom life, work life, fill in the blank life. Dreams don't work unless you do, and just because you're a mom doesn't mean you can't still make it happen, whatever it means to you. Welcome to the Mama Work It podcast. Hey mamas, welcome back to another awesome episode of the Mama Work It podcast. So glad you are here. You are tuning in. If you are new to Mama Work It, we support women in the juggle of mom life, work life, wife life, fill in the blank life. I am your host, Marissa Lonick, working mama of four and founder of Mama Work It. So excited that you're here and excited to introduce you to our guest today. Her name is Charlotte Friborg. She helps moms illuminate their personal path to having a satisfying career or business without sacrificing the ability to be an amazing mom. Preach. She is a 2-time best-selling author, speaker, and master certified law of attraction life coach, certified NLP master practitioner, and human design certified practitioner. A native of Denmark, Charlotte moved to the U.S. in 2006 with her young family and has lived in Florida ever since. When she's not helping moms find purpose, balance, and fulfillment in their career, she enjoys training her dog, Maisie, ballroom dancing, a walk in nature, reading healthy food, traveling, listening to podcasts, and of course, her family and friends. Charlotte, thank you so much for being here. Excited to chat today.
Thank you so much, Marissa. I'm very excited to be here today.
Yeah,
I know
me
we
too.
both love to serve moms and talk about that. So thank you for having me.
Yes. Oh, I can't wait. Okay. Well, I know we just heard a little bit about all the spectacular certifications and the wonderful things that you've done, but tell us more about your journey. Like, what led you to want to support moms and to where you are today?
Oh my God. It's actually something I've been thinking about a lot recently. I dare to say that I knew as a little girl that I wanted to help people. I didn't know at that time moms, but to find something in their career that they really enjoy. Like we can say make money with something that feels fulfilling. Now, of course, I was a little girl. I didn't know as much and didn't have life experience as I have today, but I've always been wondering and questioning and been in mystery about why do people sometimes do things that they don't like to do, that dissatisfies and burns them out, and how can we change that? So, but like so many others, I had questions as a little girl. They were not answered. They were not always welcome. I forgot about all that. And I started the journey of going to school and picking things that was the right thing to do. And then in my early 20s, I figured this is not what I want. And then I dropped that job. I started an education where I learned more things that was more in alignment with what I wanted, like about international trade, sales, culture, all of that, about people. And I got involved in team building, and I was regularly picked to be the one to deal with the people, even in difficult situations. And I think with my patience, my interest in people, it was just like gradually it was just leading to starting all the certifications and learning about how really to work, get the skill sets and the tools to really work with people. So it's always been in me, but I did put it in the back burner. And then I think whatever guides us, God, spirit, the universe, like it was clearly shown to me, you go this direction, mama.
Yeah. And did that intersect in your motherhood journey? Is that what really led you to want to serve moms specifically?
So that came later. I do want to say when I quit the job that I had, where I had educated myself and I had been working for a couple of years, there was one day where I was just standing, brushing my teeth, looking in the mirror and thinking, if I ever get a family, how is this going to work? And it was like, that was kind of the initial thought, like, no, let me quit this. And then I chose that education. Now, why I chose with moms was more about, see, during, I'm sure as many others who are listening to this, as you have experienced, as we learn to use the tools as coaches and so forth, we got to do the work ourselves. So as I dived in to use all the tools on myself, I really found out how many limiting beliefs I had about what was possible. Now, I was not, this is a vulnerable story, but I was not a wanted child. My mom got pregnant with me by accident. She was 17, she was 18 when she had me. And I'm lucky that my grandparents said to my mom, because she wanted an education. So they said, you keep the child and we help you take care of her until you can take her home to wherever you live. So I lived with my grandparents for 5 years, and my mom left the town. It was a small, remote town in Denmark. She left to another bigger town to pursue her education, which today I'm so proud of that she did, that she stuck to it and she received the support from her parents. But to me, as a little girl, subconsciously, I learned later, I created all these limiting beliefs about, wow, as a mom, you cannot both be successful and pursue what you really want with your career and be a great mom. Because I felt like I'm left here. I was even at an orphanage for some time when my grandmother she had to go through surgery, and at that time you stayed in the hospital longer and recovery, and there was no one else to take care of me. So I was in an orphanage for some time, and I know there, from what I've heard from relatives, that I totally shut down. So today, when we know so much more about psychology, I have a lot of compassion for myself, but also done the work to heal those traumas and figuring out that this is my story, but there's so many other stories. And if I can heal, forgive, do all the work on this, I know I kind of felt like that apart from other things also, like, because when I then wanted to pursue my career, all these things about how is it possible? And there's actually, I want to add a little bit, because I remember one day in a session when I went through training, this was back when I did the NLP. I remember I was sitting, the teacher was demonstrating with another student, and she had to share a belief that she strongly believed in, a positive belief. And what she said was, I'm an amazing mom. And I knew that she also was on a career path that she loved. And I literally, first, it was like a lightning, like, how is that possible? I was really, but that cannot be possible. That was how strongly I believed you cannot both be an amazing mom and pursue a career path, whether it's business or in corporate work, at the same time, and be happy with both, or get to juggle it all and all of that. But that's when I really started like, wow, I got some work to do on this. So yeah. So it was like, so it's been seeds, but it has, when I sat down in 2019 and wrote my first book, I had a book coach to help me through that process. And we talked about, who do I really want to write this book to? And that's when we went through all the experience. I have my own story and all of that, and decided to write it to moms who wants to make their own money. That's actually the title of my first book, Make Your Own Money Again. And it was just, that was a moment, because until then, in my businesses, I had been more broad, but that's when I really said, yeah, I'll put the stake in the ground for that. I want to help moms who wants to make money and figure out a way to be fulfilled with that and still be amazing moms. It's possible.
Yeah.
It's not always easy, but it's possible. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that story and that healing process in yourself and what led you there. Appreciate that. I mean, I think our own healing journey is such a big part of our story. And so I love that you shared that. What do you see in most of your clients? Like, what do you see their biggest struggles are? Are they similar to what you went through?
I would say it's different for everybody. Like, there are not two of us who are the same, but there's a lot about, as I know you work a lot with, like the time management, prioritizing, but it's also am I worth it? Asking for what we want. Dare to ask for what we want. Dare to believe in ourselves. And dare to believe that, and this is what I truly believe in when I sit down with a woman and sometimes some clients don't even know what they want. They've learned so much to push away those dreams that are always in there somewhere. But it's all what I see also can be very, very hard for many is to not wanting to control the process. Like, we can have the dream, we can have an idea, I want something different, and then we want to see the evidence that it's possible before we make the hard decisions. So building in within ourselves some level of trust that it will work out, but we gotta take the step, call the person, go wherever we think it is, like we get guided or whatever, like to go, like trust that process. I think most people want to have security in advance that things will work out. And I think that can be the biggest challenge for most. I also know from experience, not just for myself, but from the moms I've worked with, that once we can start to let go of that control, like, I want to make sure that it works out, or how do I know that it actually will happen? That's when things really start to happen. Because, yeah, it's like if we empty a bucket of expectations, there's more room to fill in new things in the bucket. Does that make sense? Was that a clear answer to your question?
Yes, I think that makes a lot of sense. I want to add to this. I think for moms, especially, even if you consider yourself a risk taker generally in life, and I'm pretty risk averse, to be honest. It took me about a year of fighting with myself before I felt ready and confident to go from employee to entrepreneur full time. So I'm pretty risk averse. But even if you find that you're a risk taker generally, I think in motherhood, all of a sudden we have this immense responsibility that we didn't have before, right? Of these individuals we're raising, we're responsible for financially, we're responsible for emotionally, we're responsible for and feeding and bathing and all these things, academic, like all the things, all the decisions we're making. And that can sort of like lower your threshold too, or maybe I should say higher threshold, whatever it is, however you want to look at it, but it can make you feel more concerned or like more doubtful in taking these risks and implementing these changes of like pursuing what you want to pursue or changing careers or exiting one job and moving into a business or whatever that is. Do you agree? Do you see this a lot with your mom clients, and how do you address that?
Yeah, I really like that you go in this direction here, because I think it's very important to acknowledge that we are all different. And like, for example, I know someone who recently decided she wants to go all in with her business, but she made sure that she had 3 months savings, like a buffer to give herself, and then she went full time with her business. Where others are more driven by, I gotta bring in the money. So we're so different that way. And I think that's very, very important, that whatever works for us or for one does not work for the other.
Yes.
I personally would rather support someone, really take the time, and if we want to have, we don't want to put our babies, or however age they are, they can still be babies when they're adults, right? But we don't want to put the family at risk. Now, having said that, no matter what, there's always a risk, right? There's always, we can be, I know someone 2 weeks ago, I got a phone call and he was fired. So that's just, and I think that's where I like to layer by layer to implement these, to have to train ourselves in having this natural ability to trust that things will work out and we are able to figure it out, but it's not the same way we'll figure it out. And there really is no guarantee with anything in life. I mean, it's hard to say, but there really isn't. We don't even know. We're here today, right? What a blessing. We don't know what happens tomorrow. And that alone can make some people freeze up and build anxiety. And for others, that can be a motivation to do things. So that's why I think it's very, very important to be able to have the skill set and be able to really tune in on each individual person. And we are very different. One of the tools I use, not to go deep down into that, I have a tool I use called human design. It's getting more and more popular. I find that can, for me as a coach, is a very good layer tool to have to help someone to understand why they may be more dependent on being fixed with something, or someone else be more open to, okay, let's try and see if it works. There's a lot we can see actually in our human design about that. But again, for each person, we can never even take that tool, which I found very detailed, very useful, the most useful personal test, or what, it's not a personal test, but it's about who we are. But the most accurate one I've seen of all the ones I have been exposed to during the years, still each person have their own story. Each person have their own traumas, like mine, like different versions. So something like an image that comes to my mind now that I think is important to understand for all of us is that there's only so much awareness we can hold in our conscious mind at any given time. But underneath that, like an iceberg, where just a little tiny bit of it sticks above the surface of the water, the iceberg is so much bigger underneath the water. The same with our unconscious mind. And in that unconscious mind can be all the supportive thoughts, good experience that supports it, but there can also be all these sneaky limiting thoughts and beliefs that we have. So getting to know ourselves and how to explore that, how to recognize what's real fear and what's our ego, we can call it, or old like voices from maybe our parents or the caretakers that we unconsciously still play in the back of our head, like really be present with ourselves and recognize what's real fear, what's really, because it's good that we are able to feel fear. Any feelings are valid. So I would say that was a long answer to your question. It's very individual, but I think that's where the due diligence we have as coaches when we work with people is to really take the time to get to know our clients and honor that they are different. They are on a different path. They have their family to take care of, their kids' needs. Every family is different. Often in families, there are a child that needs extra. That's just my experience. There will always be some other details to take extra that requires more of our energy. All of that we need to take into consideration. So
Absolutely.
Did you feel that
it is a
answered your
very
question?
case by case scenario, and
Very.
it is a hard question to answer. So thank you for the explanation. We've got a lot of ambitious moms who listen to this show. What is just one piece of advice, or like the number one thing you'd want to tell them if the listener is struggling to follow through with like either making the change she desires or taking a risk she's really unsure about? Is there a common denominator piece of advice that you could offer?
Yeah, it would be to know deep down you really, truly deserve to live a life that makes you fulfilled. And if I can just say that, with all my years of experience, it's possible. I really want to plan. It is possible. Sometimes it requires some work. I would definitely, if someone feels alone, like not just you have a podcast like this with so many different guests with so much experience, like just continue to study. Whether you have the money to hire a coach, I would definitely always recommend that. But then if that's not on a first priority right now, like seek the guidance. I mean, we're so fortunate today. There's so much free information. And one of the things I actually always recommend, is something I've done myself for many, many years, I think close to 8 years now, is to, whenever I read something or listen to a podcast or study something, learn something, I have call it my success habit sheet. I put because so often we can learn something, we can hear a golden piece of advice or nugget, or I can read this book, or I can do this to get more confidence or courage or be able to think differently. And then life moves on and we forget about it. So I have one sheet, piece of paper. I update it every month, print it out again. I recommend it to my clients. In the beginning, they're like, but once they start to use it, they're like, it's so good. It's so good. But always have one place where you write down the things that you can do to feel better, soothe your energy, be more uplifted. Because otherwise in our busy life, we forget it. And have it somewhere you see it. I have mine. It's in a drawer here. But I just moved. So I don't have everything in place now, but I always have it near me. So every night I'll look at it. Did I do it? Oh, I forgot that. But then it's a fresh memory. So it doesn't get forgotten, because often we can maybe make a note and then it ends in the drawer or in a note sheet on our phone or somewhere else, and we forget about it. And so even in a busy day with kids, with all the chores, all the duties, all the responsibilities, we can have that one document. It can be on the phone, on the computer, or on that. I just like paper because it's like kinesthetic, physical for me. And I like to draw different colors. So we make it our own, make it a way that works for us. But that's definitely something I find is very useful. most of us know what we need to do. Most of us really know what we need to do. Oh, at least what's the next step we can do? And then that will lead to the next thing. I don't think that any of us, if we're really honest with ourselves, don't know what we can do. Whether, like, we have so much information today. So whether it is take 15 minutes and read every day, meditate, like go more out in nature, hug trees, go for a walk, barefoot in grass, whatever, wherever we live, whatever we can do, especially those, I'm sure, tuning into a podcast like this. We already have so much information that we know what we can do, and you really deserve to do that. And then take that next right step. But one more thing, also know you're never alone, and find people, find a tribe, whether it's a coach or whether it's a community. I see more and more of that coming up because people have felt so isolated. So there start to be so many amazing communities around, both in person and online. And reach out. Like, don't go with any doubt feelings and think there's anything wrong with you, because that isn't. There's always a solution, and there's always a path to a fulfilled life as a working mom.
Thank you. So good. Well, Charlotte, we are at the point in our show where we are going to get to the lightning round now, which is where I'm going to ask you just some random fun questions so our listeners can get to know you a little bit more personally. Are you ready?
Oh, fun. Yes.
All righty. If you could go on vacation tomorrow, anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
Oh, I think today it would be Denmark. It's been a while, and I have some friends in Scandinavia I would like to go and visit. But that's my home corner of the world.
Yes. What if you could have any superpower? What would it be?
I have always wanted to, oh my gosh, I always get goosebumps. I always wanted to be able to fly like a bird, like have wings and just fly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Number
love
one
that.
answer on this show.
Really?
Yeah. Lots of people want that. Yeah. What's your guilty pleasure TV show?
I think actually, because I've been moving the past few months, I have almost not watched anything. But if I think back before then, I've watched a lot of these real estate shows because I love houses and I love to see either how they're being transformed or when they sell them and show them around. I just love homes and interior decorating. That was my original, I worked in a furniture store. So I still get that part nurtured by watching those kind of shows.
Yeah, those shows are fun. I like those too. They're very creative. What is your go-to, like, get it done, motivating song?
Do I really have one? Actually, I don't really have a song go-to. I'm more like, but I do like to dance, but it's not that I have one particular song. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 All right, last question. What's one app you can't live without?
I would say right now it's Instagram. And in particular, because I have taken a break on my ballroom dance, because I had first one dance partner who moved, and then I found a second one who was even better. He moved. So I'm like, perfect. And then I moved. So I'm taking a part, but Instagram. And I have so many professional dancers I follow and other people. So I get to watch dance and just feel that joy and fulfillment that I feel through them. So Instagram right now.
Love it. Yeah. Well, Charlotte, can you tell our listeners where they can connect with you and find you after the show?
Yeah, absolutely. So of course, they can go to my website, which is Charlotte Friborg So Charlotte is like Charlotte, like in Charlotte's Web, and then Friborg is FRIBORG.com. And there's a site that's called resources. So go charlottefriborg.com/resources. Both my books are actually there to download for free. But if you want the latest, you can always just go to fulfilledworkingmom.com and just get the book.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Charlotte. Appreciate you being here.
Well, thank you for having me, Marisa. I had a good time with you.
You've been listening to the Mama Work It podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode and would love if you could take a quick minute to leave me a review on whichever platform you're listening from, and maybe even send a note to a fellow mama friend recommending it. Reviews and recs help this podcast grow and reach more like-minded, awesome moms. And if you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click that button so we can stay in touch, girl. By the way, if you haven't checked out the Mama Work It website, please do. There are lots of free resources and great articles there that can help you with the juggle of work life, mom life, wife life, fill in the blank life. So head on over. Thanks again for being part of the tribe. I'll see you soon, but in the meantime, keep on working it, mama.